Hello, everybody. This is Pastor Willie, and this is the encouraging word for today. I know a couple who got married. They were both strong believers in Jesus, and both would make excellent parents, an excellent father, an excellent mother. They were committed to each other. They had good character, and they wanted to have children. They had it all planned out when they were going to have children, buy a house, then start to prepare to have the children. They had a timetable. 1 year passed, 2 years passed, 5 years passed, 6 years passed, 8 years passed, and no child, no pregnancy. Their dream, their desire for children was not coming to pass. And they were getting older. We all have desires, maybe for a certain job or a job change or a career or some dream we have for our lives. Maybe it's even for a relationship or, as in the case of this couple, for children. And we wait and we wait and we wait, and it just doesn't come to pass. The Apostle Paul, or Saul as he's called, had his life turned around. He was called, a powerful call by God to preach to the Gentiles and to their kings. And so 2 times he goes out to preach. And both times the Jews try to kill him. And the last time the believers send him off to Tarsus, kind of hide him away in Tarsus. So he's off the stage waiting for God to open the door. God called him to preach to the Gentiles and the kings, but there's no kings in Tarsus. Now the couple I knew waited 8 years, 9 years, 10 years, no children. And they actually got to the place in their personal lives where they just released their desire to God. They released their dream to God. And they surrendered. They said, for example, they would say something like, God, you know what we desire, and we just put it in your hands. We let it go. And after that time, something amazing happened. She got pregnant, and they had a beautiful child. It was sort of like the story of Abraham and Sarah, or Hannah, who couldn't have children. Now, no one knows what Paul was doing in Tarsus. He didn't write anything about it. But I believe, from what I understand of Paul's character, from what he wrote, that he had surrendered his dream to God. In Philippians 3:10 Paul says, I want to know Christ. You see, that became his desire. That became his dream, to know Christ, not to do something for Christ, but to know Christ. Now, in the meantime, far away in a city called Antioch, there's a movement of God going on, and many people, many Gentiles are coming to Jesus. And then one day, Paul is probably reading the scriptures in his slippers, sipping on a coffee from Panera Bread, and there's a knock on the door. And let's pick up the story in Acts 11:25 and 26. Then Barnabas went to Tarsus to look for Saul. And when he found him, he brought him to Antioch. So for a whole year, Barnabas and Saul met with the church and taught great numbers of people. The waiting is over. The season is over. A new season has begun for Paul. There's a knock on the door. He opens the door, and the answer comes just like that. In the fullness of time. Come, we have a lot of work to do for the Lord right now. waiting, waiting, waiting. And then one day when he least expected it, after he was surrendered fully to God, there was a knock on the door. And the answer came to him. He didn't have to go out and look for the answer or make it happen. My friends, if you're waiting, I know it can be the hardest thing you will ever do. Surrender it all to the Lord. Surrender your dream. Surrender your desires to the Lord. Let go. A new season will come when you least expect it. When God opens the door, let him find you fully surrendered and fully ready. God bless you, and I'll see you tomorrow.